Alright guys, so what I have here is a older Poulan. This one I actually do have access to the model number as it is still there. There it is right there for the camera. I don't know what year this is offhand, but if I had to guess, I'd say maybe late 90s. I've already done 3 things to this thing so far. 1, I replaced this wheel because when I got it, it did not have a wheel there. So I grabbed one off of that old Power Pro deck that I have sitting over there and went ahead and threw it on. The blade brake system was not working because the spring was gone. So I went and got one out of the Horde and went ahead and stuck this one on there, as well as installed a new blade control cable. I need to tighten it up over here and possibly adjust the throttle control for the car, but we'll get there when we do. So now we have a fully working blade control system. And then I guess the technical 4th thing that I've done with this thing is verified that it in fact starts and has spark. I already sprayed some starting fluid into the carb and went ahead and pulled on the pull string, and it does in fact kick over and run. Sounds like it'll actually run good, but we'll get there when we do. So what this thing's going to need, quite a bit more work than that red one does over there, or what red one did. That one's all complete now. You guys will see that video before this one. But this one needs a full carb service, more than likely. It more than likely does need a new primer bulb. I think this one is actually a little hard. Might be okay, but I'll have to reassess that when I can get a better look at it. I think it does need a new air filter, which I have a couple of those. It definitely needs a new fuel line. This one is hard and brittle as can be. It needs a new pull cord. And it needs a new gas tank because this one is cracked. Once they start cracking like this, they don't stop. If it was my own personal mower, I would just throw some silicone sealant on there and call it a day. But when you go and sell one of these on to people, they kind of look at that funny. More often because they don't really know what they're looking at and it just looks out of place. But no worries, because I had a spare gas tank in the Horde that's actually in very, very good condition. And the yellow cap actually kind of matches the Poulan logo. So, this one is going to need a little bit of work, so I'm just going to go ahead and start ripping her apart. First thing I'm going to do, which I won't show on camera, is I'm going to take off this top trim part and then just start disconnecting the gas tank, pull the carburetor off, and we'll go from there. So the next part we're at here, I love power tools by the way. Just going to go ahead and remove the air filter box. I'll get that piece off. Want to drop that. We have this part, which I probably should have done with it still on the mower, but oh well. Let's look over our primer bulb. First, should probably do a widow check. Not seeing anything yet. It's always a good thing. But this primer bulb probably could stand to be replaced. Probably should have done a premature widow check because we have a husk of a black widow that's still there. So that's always great. Yeah, it ain't alive no more. So I'm going to go ahead and just start ripping off all the other stuff with this mower and we'll be right back. So with my trusty drill, I went ahead and remove these 2 screws. Probably should do a widow check. Nothing yet. And you can see, I think that one's actually long dead. But might be some widows underneath the recoil, which hopefully they're dead as well. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the fuel line, which in fact what I'm more than likely going to do is just cut it off with my handy hose cutters here. Oh wow, that is definitely a little hard, boys. So I'll go ahead and grab yourself a 3/8" socket as you start knocking parts off. And just start unscrewing the bolts. Those are definitely Black Widow webs. So that's accomplished. And of course the gasket's going to have to be replaced. That's no big deal. And there's our carburetor. So now we can go ahead and take apart the carburetor. Now you guys are going to love this. That was really hard to undo, by the way. The bolt is also really stuck on there. And I already saw through the bolt hole the reason why. Prepare to be amazed, boys. Now you can see what I'm talking about. This is going to be a job for the chem dip. Might actually have to get a rebuild kit for this one, but I do have a few extra carburetors in the hoard. So what I'm up to now is just pulling off the top bolts for the gas tank. And we got one more that's down here. It's holding it in. Of course, being in this part of California, I got to do a mandatory weather check as I throw bolts everywhere. And we're actually good, surprisingly. So go ahead and take that off. Now I just got to pull the starter recoil off because I'm going to go ahead and throw a new starter rope in for whoever buys this. We also have some random cattage walking around. Widow check, and we got a little bastard. So gonna have to do the old fire to get rid of it. Knew there'd be a little straggler piece of shit in there somewhere. Look at him. Bastard. Alright guys, new pull cord has been installed, Black Widow is dealt with, new fuel line has been installed as well. I'm going to have to trim it to size, and then I have the other little hose clamp right there. So now what I have to do is just go ahead and install the new used gas tank, and then we'll be getting going. So I've got those 3 bolts in. Still need to route the pull cord up through here. So we'll do that a little later. And then these 3 bolts are there for the filter box. So now all I have to do is just screw in this bottom bolt here. Now I'll go ahead and size up the new fuel line. It's going to go right to about there or so. Actually, that's probably fine how it is. So we'll go ahead and be happy with that. There's a pair of channel locks. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is replace this gasket that's right here. I'm going to go ahead and replace this primer bulb as well because it's all messed up. And I'll touch bases with you guys again shortly. So I got the new primer bulb in. It's got a little bit more of a spring. Press it in so the nipples come out. So we have our filter box. Slide it under there. And now I'm going to go ahead and clean up this area right here and just spray some penetrating oil in there, kind of free it up just a little bit. And then we'll see if she'll give us a start. So I squirted that up with penetrating oil. Probably need to tighten that up just a little bit more. Still a little bit too loose for my liking. But everything is moving beautifully now. So all we have left to do is just throw some gas in it, see what happens. Go ahead and tell you guys what I just did. As you guys can see, it's a little moist over there. But I just had to tighten down these bolts here just like I did on the other mower because I'm assuming it was sucking in a little bit extra air, so it was throwing off the mixture and it just wouldn't stay running. And also, looks like we have some slight amount of oil that's either gotten past, but more than likely it was overfilled at one point. And we got a little bit of a hydrolock situation. And now we're gonna start it back up. Prime it one more time. I'm not liking the fact that air filters on it. Little smoky, but this is how you clear it. Done now. That's good because it's not a constant thing. If there is a constant oil getting through the into the combustion chamber, that means the rings are shot. That's not the case. It's looking good so far, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. And now I can just put everything back together, and I'm going to clean up this one and the red one over there tomorrow. So they'll be nice and clean for whoever buys them. But other than that, see where we go from here.